All right, being 6 o'clock, I'm going to call the Coos Bay City Council meeting to order. Would you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you, everyone. We have a couple of counselors that are online, Troy Cribbins, Counselor Cribbins, and Sarah Stevens, Counselor Stevens. So they will be interacting with us. Also, public comments is the first item on the agenda this evening. And so there's a little commentary I want to keep mention and read for all the ones that are testifying. The public comments period is intended for the public to share ideas and concerns. It is not intended for an interactive discussion with the council. There may be opportunities for public comments during specific agenda items that requires a public hearing. Members of the public are requested to confine their remarks to questions or issues under discussion during this time. During any designated comment period, individuals shall not engage in personal attacks and shall not impugn the motives of any speaker and shall at all times, while in session, conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. No person shall make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or unauthorized remarks or become boisterous while addressing the council. Okay, with that being the case, Robert Scott. And it's a 3-minute time period for all. And who's keeping time? And Christina will be keeping time, so please stick within the 3 minutes. Thank you.
I'm Robert Scott Trout, and I'm here to discuss spina bifida and the younger people of Coos County, or Coos Bay. Our understanding of neural tube disorders has improved dramatically over the last several decades, but questions on mechanism of formation, preventative measures, and curative treatments remain. An intricate relationship between environmental, genetic, and maternal factors have been implicated in the etiology and pathogenesis of this congenital malformation. Currently, the genetic component is thought to contribute to approximately 60 to 70% of the risk of neural tube disorders. As such, the identification of additional genetic loci in humans is an ongoing area of study. This is underscored by the approximately 250 genes identified in the model of neural tube disorders alone, ranging from spontaneous to chemically induced and knockout variations. In this review, we will discuss the genetics and embryology in spina bifida and neural tube disorders, explore folate metabolism, briefly touch on the pathophysiology of surgical repair options, and review the previous and current work in stem cell-based therapies. That's it. All right. Thank you. There is the council. I learned that the city is trying to put together the first ever citywide bicycle and pedestrian plan, and I have a coffee cup idea. I don't know why. I think in 1999 we had the basics of a plan, and then 2012 to 2017 there was a big community-wide thing to do the Connect the Boardwalk plan that lasted 5 years. It didn't go anywhere, and that evidently, well, I'm not a betting man, but I wouldn't spend any money at the Indian Casino, where the bike path from North Bend to the Coos Bay stops dead, because all that old Weyerhaeuser waterfront property, the casino has VIP striped parking for like 10 Harleys. And there's a sign that says, if you park your bike here, you've lost your bike, or something like that. So I'm not a big fan. But I would bet money that if we took, lunch and dinner is all. If we took a map of the city, of this fair city of Coos Bay, and asked ChatGPT what you wanted, a beautiful, fluid bicycle walking path through all of these, and named all the places that people would love to go, and pushed the button, I would gamble that in 15 seconds it would come up with a whole plan, the whole thing. That's my coffee cup idea. Because we didn't have time to respond to this. Everybody that contacted me on my ad to the South Coast shopper, they're all on vacation and stuff. Anyway, this wasn't a long enough time to do a study. But I bet you in 15 seconds, ChatGPT would build the whole thing.
Mike out of Coos Bay, and I responded to that email. I emailed on the letter, and then this morning I got it back undeliverable. So there was something wrong in the system there. But I printed out a copy of what came through on my email, so I'll just pass that along and have a look at it if you want to see it. Oh yeah. Okay. No problem. But like I say, I did do it. The other thing I drive around, and when I go everywhere now. I cannot believe how ODOT is falling apart or something. I cannot see what their thinking is. A lot of what they do on their speeds is dated back to 1967. It's just so outdated on how they come up with the speeds. And the other day I would decide to go down to Sunset Beach. And on the way down to Sunset Beach, just before there, you got a whole row of houses before you go down to the 25 mile zone, and they put a 45 mile an hour speed zone there. And then right before that, they've got a bicycle and somebody walking, and it's got to share the road. And as I was driving along, I counted 25 residential driveways. And then there's a street down there with about 10 houses on it. And that's in 4/10 of a mile. I'm thinking, that is absolutely nuts. I got on Google Maps, and it was that way in 2019. So, and I know that sign got knocked down a couple of times and been replaced. But anyway, I decided to just take a picture, do a little splurb on that. I haven't gotten in touch with ODOT because I want them to explain to me why they don't seem to follow their speed zone manual when they're putting this stuff together. I mean, it's pretty bad when you really get. A lot of people don't look at it. You take it for granted because you just drive down the road and got other things on your mind. But I unfortunately, my life has been ruined. It's all I look at when I go along. I just look at road width and bike lanes and pedestrian crossings and sidewalks and speed limits. Anyway, I put a little note down. These are just my scratch notes here. And then on the way back from Sunset Beach, there's two ways really. There's Cape Arago, which I've done on my bike a time or two, and that's miserable. And then this time I thought, well, I'll go down Libby, see what's happening down Libby. And I'm in my little old white old guy 4-door Camry, and I got this big monster truck comes right on my tail. And there's no way out of there. And I'm doing the speed limit, or just sometimes I do 5 below or 5 above, but I'm never bad. Anyway, he's on my tail, honking his horn and flashing lights and the whole 9 yards, the whole way down there. I just ignored him. I couldn't pull over to the side because he had my attention. Anyway, I got a photograph of his tail end there. If I ever see him again, I'll say nothing about it. But anyway, but see, that's the only two ways to get into that coastal area. So you've really got to have a car or an industrial strength truck to be able to manage it. Anyway, thank you very much.
Excuse me. You got an email for Nicole that you wanted to give us?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Also, I just want to let everyone know that I've been a little bit more involved in the legislation that's been passing, and I can tell you the transportation bill did not pass. And what that means is 800 less ODOT people. And so we're going to have more of a struggle getting things done that we have indicated that we wanted done. So I don't know if that's good. I don't think it's good. We have enough issues that we need to resolve, and ODOT's involved in a lot of them, and so it's going to be unfortunate. All right, we'll get on with our regular meeting. Agenda items. First one is a presentation, semi-annual presentation by Berea Chamber of Commerce, and I understand Rosie showed up to do it. Hey, Rosie, how you doing? Always so much enthusiasm.
Right? I try to bring it with the enthusiasm. I have been, Team Rojo's been a little broken for almost 2 weeks now because Jolene was having a family emergency and had to attend to that. So I've also had 2 interns at the chamber this week, so it has been a busy time, but exciting things are happening. We have an intern from SWAC that's training with us and wants to open her own business, South Abandon, and so all the connections and community that she will make with us will be excellent for her starting her business. And then we got Patty Borcher's grandson came back from Amsterdam for 30 days, and he is like a videographer genius on social media, so we brought him into the chamber as well so that we could get even stronger. But it'll take some mentoring to get that off the ground, but we're having fun. So I am here for the biannual presentation. I am Rosie Thomas, your Executive Director at the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. And we started our year with a big planning session, of course, and we were working on our bylaw revisions and a big membership survey so that we would know where I wanted to take my second year and have good eyes on what the membership was wanting. Keeping them informed was a top priority, staying engaged in legislative efforts. They were listed as crucial reasons to support your local Chamber of Commerce, and they felt it crucial for the businesses to stay engaged with events and important programmings for networking and connecting. So all of the top things that the membership was thinking about, and we are trying to bring that at the Chamber. So we are continuing our Chamber Minute via the World newspaper, and it's available on the radio by Coastal Media. And now I do it on Facebook video and YouTube as well, so they can have a Chamber Minute at the end of the week on video. And now it will be in the South Coast Shopper as well. So we're trying to get that Chamber Minute out there in more places. And, of course, we send out a monthly newsletter once a month to anyone who wants to receive that email, even more than just Chamber members. And some companies have more than one contact that want the information. So if you do not currently receive the monthly newsletter from the Bay Area Chamber letting you know about events and legislative priorities that we're working on, then you need to call the Chamber and have yourself added. Otherwise, we launched an effort this year to help the city of Coos Bay achieve Heritage City status. Congratulations on that. That's huge. But we had a part to do in it as well. So we created a program honoring businesses over 50 years old with a Heritage Award. And recent honorees, some of those were like Farr's Hardware, turned 108. England Marine had turned 80. And, of course, the city of Coos Bay turning 150. So there's a lot more businesses that are heritage status, so we've got to get out in the community and do some more of that awarding. But just doing our part to make sure that we are a heritage city. We wanted to be more visible in the community, so again, watch those Chamber Minutes on the videos on Fridays, and we created a Chamber Coins for Kids program. May I approach?
Yes.
So we have these little coins that we bring to events, and it's got a little instructional thing on how to use it. Let me get back to the mic for the people online. So Chamber Coins for Kids is a program where we pass out Chamber coins, and there are 10 active businesses, our members, that give kids a little goodie when they stop by. Like the Artist Loft Gallery is one of our members. If a child comes in with a Chamber coin, they get art supplies. If they go to So It Goes Coffee, they get a delicious cookie. If they go to North Bend Lanes, they get a treat from there as well. So we have 10 local businesses that participate with that, and the kids are starting to get excited about it. They come find us at the fairgrounds when we're out there and at the farmers market days. And any pop-up events that we do. So that's been fun. Let's see. We came up with involvements to be just a little more chamber ready, and I brought some of you guys to share. I didn't have enough because of the golf tournament. But they're quite delicious, and they say thank you for your involvement in the chamber. I love the cheesy marketing things, but every time somebody shows up for an event, I have a little something I can give them that says thanks for being involved. And I think it's adorable. Let's see. Trainings and certification, right? I can't just be a chamber gal forever. I have to get certified. So I am halfway through my chamber certification, which is a 3-year program through the Western Association of Chamber Executives. And also, we took a giant AI training in Las Vegas for chamber executives. So Jolene and I both traveled to Vegas for 4 days and took intensive chamber AI trainings on ways that it can help you. So like Dean Lundy was saying, ChatGPT, he can do some great things, but he can also mess up specific, so you really got to figure out how to use it. One example is I put in the budget from the last 2 years of the chamber when we had budgeting to do. And then I informed ChatGPT of updates that I had made, like getting a couple renters in the building to help pay the rent, because the Port of Coos Bay was nice enough to let us rent those spaces out for the chamber's good. And we filled a couple of those spots, and it's helping pay the bills. So I put in changes and updates that I knew were happening for my current year, and then I asked him to build a budget and highlight any problems or areas of concern, things that we needed to take note on. And he did it in 10 minutes. Wrote the budget for 2025, highlighted areas that we needed to focus on, and I couldn't believe it. It would have took me weeks. So there are some things ChatGPT can be excellent at, especially helping you in the chamber world. But, you got to double check your interesting stuff, because even the dates, I could put in a report that said I was there on Saturday at the Coos Bay lighting up of the Boy Scout thing this Saturday. And I could put the date in and that it was Saturday and it was such and such a date, and ChatGPT will make it a Thursday if you're not careful. So watch your AI. But it has been improving things and activities, and some of the marketing stuff that Jolene does has taken some of the edge off and some of the time off of what we do. So any way that we can be better about that is going to help us. I also graduated Leadership Coos 34th class in May, so I learned a lot about the ins and outs of Coos County and how we're governed and all that good stuff. So it was a good class. And we collaborated with the South Coast Development Council. The chamber came together, TSOC and CCD, and we all took a board training together. And that was a lot of fun and helped pay the bill so that we could all four share the cost of that, having that board trainer come in. So excellent stuff like that. Speaking of collaborating, we are working on our relationships with the partner agencies. It's all strengthening. We've been working with the South Coast Development Council, CCD, the Small Business Development Center on a regular basis. We serve on each other's boards or committees, and we're just getting a whole lot done that way. We even took the time to create a document that describes each thing that we do as an agency, and then looked at it to see how many of those check marks are in the same box. Maybe we need to talk or split up these chores and take care of the business community in a better way. And those collaborations are going well. An example of that, Michelle Laird from CCD Business is the chairman of my business development committee. And she's working on a Source Local campaign to raise awareness on where businesses can source things locally. We're going to start with seafood. Where can we source seafood locally? And we're going to get students involved, have a cooking contest with locally sourced seafood, and create an awareness campaign around Source Local. So we love this idea, and the chamber doesn't have any money to do it with. But we've got people, and we've got heart, and CCD wants to do it. So we partnered with the SCDC, and they went after a grant to pay and got a $20,000 grant to put towards this Source Local campaign so we can create it and do more good in the community as partnerships. So
Rosie, I think that grant was from SOWIB, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been the SOWIB grant that SCDC. Yeah. I wasn't sure who. Either way, but SOWIB is involved now, and that's going to make it even stronger. And we've been using each other's avenues of greatness, if you will. Somebody's a good grant writer. SOWIB wants to help the business community and is getting involved in giving money to multiple areas, like the $20,000 for our. Thank you for correcting me, Sarah. I knew she would know. For that Source Local campaign for kids. So I think it's a great place to start, and those partnerships are just making us stronger. The Bay Area Chamber of Commerce held several meaningful Wednesday Business Connection luncheons, including political forums like Congress-level forums with Val Hoyle and Monique Despain. I don't know if you remember that one, but it got a little heated and was very exciting for us locals. We haven't had Congress-level people come in to do a forum at WBC before, at least not in the history that I have been able to review. And like more localized forums, like Commissioner Drew Farmer and the North Bend mayoral race, we had them in as well. It's important to keep the members informed during those voting seasons on measures and bills as well. And WBC is our free luncheon, September through May at the Coquille Casino Resort, 11:30 to 1. Every Wednesday, starting in September. The next class of Leadership Coos participation applications have already went out. So we are signing up the 35th class. And you've got to sign up quick because those are first come, first served. But they take you all around Coos County one day a month and show you how we're governed, how we're educated, and just dip into all the areas that are important to Coos County, making stronger leaders and giving leaders a chance to connect in a way that's unheard of, I think. So what a great program. And hey, they feed you. It's not too bad. Over 60 events per year celebrating the business community right now and giving them networking opportunities throughout the year. I couldn't believe we did 60 events that year. It was just a lot. But it's amazing because Jolene and I certainly couldn't do that alone. We do that with our volunteers and the people that show up, like the ambassadors and our board of directors. They're very active, and they make getting all this stuff done. So it's amazing. What do I want to say? Ooh, one of our last Facebook page events for a ribbon cutting at Rebel Rocks had over 7,000 views. So we were pretty impressed with it. Our social media outreach, even though we're hoping Mr. Amsterdam can teach us to do it even better. Financially, we're in a better place than we have been. Membership is up, renewals are up. We have had more successful events financially and built up in 1 year a budget increase of $60,000. So we had a lot more breathing room and was able to concentrate on some efforts that we thought needed attention. Legislative Action Team is staying active this year with Ron Cooch, our VP of Government Affairs and Economic Development. He is leading forums for us, attending town halls, keeping calls with the local legislators and the Oregon State Chamber and the U.S. Chamber each week, keeping us informed all throughout the process, and I have been on those calls with him. Learning a lot about Salem and everything. Bumped into our own mayor in Salem on Chamber Day in Salem. So we were at the Capitol storming the halls and trying to figure out what goes on there. And we, of course, ran into Mayor Benetti. And then our most recent glory, the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce brought back to the community the Home Show in 2025. It was the first inaugural return of that show in 9 years. Over 70 vendors at the Pony Village Mall, and over 2,000 in attendance, with zip codes from 12 outside our area zip codes. So we were pretty excited about that. It's going to continue to get bigger and bigger each year, and the Pony Village Mall is up to the job. They were instrumental in its return, allowing us to use the space for free and offering themselves as staff for the entire weekend as well. So it was amazing. And we learned different ways to improve it for this year, so we are ready, such as colored bracelets when people are taking those surveys to find out how many people are there and what their zip code is. If we put colored bracelets on them, then we won't survey them twice. And partner agencies want to come together in a bigger way. It took 6 different agencies to work that home show successfully, and what we learned from it was that it would be easier if certain agencies just take a section, like the South Coast Development Council wants to be in charge of vendor customer service next year. So they will walk the halls and make sure everybody gets potty breaks, food breaks, and take care of that for the chamber. And CCD Business wants to run the kids zone and take care of all the kids' activities. And so I think that's going to make us even stronger, getting more partners in there to help us lift that load. It's going to be amazing. So great things to come for the community there. Save the date. The home show will be back April 24th through 26th, 2026. It's going to be amazing. We ended it with a giant balloon drop. I don't know if any of you saw that, but in the Pony Village Mall, we had 500 balloons up front on both ends, and then had a giant balloon drop with prizes inside, and it was just organized chaos all over the place, kids stomping balloons, and I thought afterwards that we probably shouldn't have did that on the Veteran Day. We probably should have did it on Family Fun Day instead of on Sunday when we were honoring our heroes. But I think Stephanie helped me put that down on a to-do list for next year. All the balloon popping might have been a little much, but everybody still had a great time. Let's see, next major event, Chamber Day at the fair. We will be out at the fairgrounds giving away chamber coins for kids on July 22nd through the 26th. We're looking for 4 of our member partners to go out there with us and help man the booth. And then after that, we'll be doing Taking Care of Business the bowling event at North Bend Lane's Back Alley Pub that we do every August 21st. And registration is online now if you want to get your team together and come show us what's up on bowling. Some of you are pretty good at it. I know Roger Craddock is building a team already, so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, that's online if you want to sign up for teams. So we are currently preparing for another Economic Outlook Forum in December, second Friday, so keep that morning open for me, guys. And otherwise, tomorrow morning is our board meeting where my president, Allison Richards, will be completing her year and a half as my chamber president and handing over the gavel to Tracy Pierce from Northwest Natural. And she will do a year and a half as well for the chamber. And it has been a wonderful time, Allison. Thank you for being here to support me and to support me all through my training. She had a day every week where she came to the office just to help train me during the first year. And that doesn't go unnoticed, and it should be commended because she made me a Billy Bad girl who's working hard to be strong for the chamber. So together with my two presidents from this year, we are creating a stronger tomorrow together. That's what I got for you tonight. Any questions?
A lot. I don't know where we start with the questions, but no, you've covered a lot. Obviously, the chamber is a vital, part of this community, and you're doing a wonderful job. Just keep it up. So, anyone else?
I was curious. You said that your memberships are up. So, what does that look like now for number of members for the chamber?
Well, for lack of a better way to say it, there was a year and a half where invoicing wasn't happening properly. Somebody was doing it manually and not using the system. Jolene came back from maternity leave a couple months before I was hired, and she had started re-looking at the system, re-invoicing people, figuring out who dropped. The chamber book that year had a whole bunch of mistakes in it, and so we were creating a new book that month together, and so there has been like a loss of 125 members through that year, and now it's built back up to 457. It was, so it's all the way back up to where it was when I was hired, before we knew about the 120 that weren't really in there.
Congratulations.
So we have
great.
built it back up and been strong, and renewals have been very strong. Every season, every month, we look at the comparison from the year before, and we are way up on membership. So we're liking the attention to the invoicing, and the proper use of the system is definitely bringing more money in for the chambers so that we can do more things, like have a podcast room and some of the things that we want down there. So we always have goals, and the chamber could use your support. So if you need anything or you have great ideas, call the chamber. And we also need help building a podcast room. So if you have any good ideas on sound and speakers, and we could use a sponsor. But thank you, City Council.
Rosie,
yes.
Along the lines of the question for membership, how many new members have you brought in since you've been?
I don't have that number.
Can you break that out? Have you had a lot of new members that weren't previous members, or?
We have gotten a lot more attention from the business community, and there's businesses like Industrial Source that have been here forever, but watching our activity in the home show just made them want to join the chamber because they weren't previously. So we're getting about 5 new members a month still, so the average stays about steady, 5 to 7. But I'm seeing new businesses that weren't in the books previously lately. So people are paying attention to us that haven't been previously, and most people are renewing. If they can't, it's only for financial reasons, and they're always seem sorry about it, and we just talk to them about other ways that they could have used their membership. If you utilize your chamber membership better and you come to the events, you have more places to network. It does more connecting for you and really, really elevates that business and their membership. So some people aren't using it as well as they could be, and as we train them to use their membership more, then we have more work to do as well. So we're balancing that and trying to make sure that we stay strong. We may need a third person before too long, so that is not lost on me, and we are analyzing it as we go so that we don't pull on too much that we can't handle.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine your new rate structure that you've put in place has been helpful to increase the membership, so it's more structured. So it was a great idea. So
Yeah, the
congratulations to
tiered
you.
sponsorships, and we can customize them based on events that they like to do. Like if the Coquille Casino Resort was against golf, and that's a piece of my package deal, then I could input Economic Outlook Forum or something else that is relevant to them to help their sponsorship feel more all-encompassing for them. So we're working on it. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm glad to hear about collaboration. You know, that's one of the city's goals. So we found it to be very successful with the other entities in this area. And so it does work. So good job.
And SOWIB's been awesome, by the way, Sarah Stevens. She heard me perform one of these reviews on what the chamber does at a business builders class, and she was inspired to send a couple people through the Leadership Coos program at SOWIB, and that's probably also when she got involved in our Source Local campaign with the SCDC and our partnership. So I'm anxious to work with these guys more and see how I can help them at the same time as they're helping us. And it's just been great.
I also wanted to acknowledge Allison to donate a year of your time as chair, but then you're donating prior to that because you are vice chair and you're doing a number of different roles and you're wearing a number of different hats, and the fact that you stayed on an additional 6 months because of your commitment to the chamber, which really is more about your commitment to this community. So I want to thank you, Allison, for all of your efforts this last year and a half.
Well
She
said.
was amazing and super patient. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, next item on the agenda is consideration of appointments to the Coos Bay Public Library Board. We had some interviews tonight. We had 2 open positions. And so, council, does anyone have a motion to make for the 2 positions?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Janice Longlinay and Gina Sutherland for the 2 positions for reappointment to the library board.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to appoint Gina and Janice for the library board positions that were, I guess, vacant and will be filled if we appoint them or vote on it. Any discussion on this? Been a motion and a second. Comments about this? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. And we had one other interviewee and someone that applied, and I want to thank her for applying and hope that she continues to stay involved in the library or in other entities. So anyway, that being the case, we'll move on. Consideration to award total company of record within for a 36-month contract. Captain Schaefer, how are you this evening? You're sitting in the back this evening, huh?
Good evening, Mayor, Council President, Councilors, Department Heads. So yes, tow company of record. It is that time. It's actually past that time. The City of Coos Bay tow company of record 24-month contract expired in January, actually. So we're a little bit beyond that, and a new contract is needed. There were some staff issues that kind of outside of our control, and we were making sure that we were doing contractually sound, I guess, by the city standard and working with our contract specialists. So a competitive RFQ process was conducted, and Mass Brothers Towing was the only company who provided a responsive bid. It is staff's request and a recommendation to award Mass Brothers Towing with a 36-month contract. I'd like to give you a little background. Several years ago, the City of Coos Bay moved from a rotation list of local towing companies to a tow company of record to handle all of the City of Coos Bay's towing needs. A request for qualification, RFQ, was established to determine a tow company of record for the City of Coos Bay. The City of Coos Bay followed the competitive bidding process outlined under ORS 279 and advertised the RFQ. The companies were given until June 20th, 2025 to provide the City of Coos Bay with their bids and a list of their qualifications. At the conclusion of the RFQ process, the City of Coos Bay received only one responsive bid from a local tow company. As a result, Coos Bay staff had only one proposal to evaluate, and therefore the review process resulted in only one recommendation for the council to consider, which I've provided you with. So if it pleases the council, award a 36-month tow company of a record contract between the City of Coos Bay and Mass Brothers Towing as a result of the competitive RFQ process.
Thank you. So going back, when we went to this type of towing, and before we had multiple towings. Can you explain to me, or us, the council and the public, why this was decided on?
Yes, there was some issues with the, it was like a rotational basis that we would kind of go through that rotation. And what we found, and really probably Chief Chaffin found more, he was in that position, or my position at that time, is that there was a lot of issues with the rotation in that we would get tow companies on scene and they would have an issue with the tow or whatever they were called out for, and it caused some issues with our dispatch center. So we decided that we wanted one tow company, a tow company of record. We've got numerous companies of record or, contracts that we have. So we wanted something similar to that so that we had a contract with somebody so that when they got out on scene, we didn't have to deal with that type of issue. Does that explain it fairly well, Steve?
Yeah, I think you explained it very well. The other thing that was going on at that time that we really needed to consider was there's some changing in the laws in regards to unlawful vehicles, abandoned vehicles, under House Bill 3124 and 3115 at the time. And so we were required to find a company that could also store the unlawful vehicles, the motorhomes, for an extended period of time, allow access for the folks to come and claim property and whatnot. And so, and that was all outlined in, like I said, 3124. And so we were running into companies not able to actually store the motorhomes or the unlawful vehicles, not able to even tow them at times. And also, we had just taken over dispatching for the city of North Bend as well, and the calls for service coming into the center was just at times overwhelming. And for a dispatcher to have to call 2 and 3 and 4 different companies to try to get a tow out on scene was just it was just more than what they could handle at the time. Since then, we've even taken on more. And so we have now, I think this is the 3rd renewal of a contract. I think we've been in contracts for the last 4 years now. Since then, we've become even more busy. We've taken on more duties. And we have really found that this is a very efficient way to do business. And this is only the tows that are caused by law enforcement. The person that we respond to that's involved in a crash or has an abandoned vehicle of their own or a vehicle that becomes disabled or a hazard or whatnot, they are offered the opportunity to pick any tow company they want. So we don't choose a tow company for the person. The contract is only for a police-caused tow for an impound or an unlawful vehicle or something of that nature. So everybody's still given an opportunity to choose whatever tow company they want, and we really encourage tow companies to come to our area and people to utilize them.
So Chief, if I remember correctly, so it also expedited time with dispatch, but time with the police officer on the scene. And so, again, being more efficient with time and ultimately dollars. Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
We're not the only city that does this, just have one tow company for record.
No, this is common. There's a couple different ways that different cities, different communities, counties approach tow contracts, but this is not outside of the norm and actually consistent with even other agencies within our own county.
And the legislative actions that you cited, those have not relaxed. You still have the responsibility to store, let's say a motorhome that is a hazard or something.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, if anything, they further have solidified. They are now laws, and so we are still bound to those obligations.
There is a lot of misinformation out there. I appreciate you going through this again, especially the part about, there's still an opportunity for people to choose if they're at
Absolutely.
the scene. So the other question that I had, the reason that we did a shorter term in the last go-round was because some of the tow companies said that they were working on meeting some of those criteria that were included in the RFQ, the ability to tow and store and those kind of things. And then at this point, you didn't have anyone else respond, so it doesn't sound like those situations have changed. Or
I will just tell you that North Bend Towing did give she communicated with me, and I even provided an extension to complete a bid. But she was not able to do that. She did say that she had looked into renting some inside storage, and it looked like that was probably going to work for the inside storage that we require. But again, we did not get a responsive bid to consider.
all right, thank you.
Thanks. I saw Jerry had put on here for a public comment, then he crossed his name off. I just want to make sure if there's anyone that wants to make a public comment about this, this will be the time we do it before we move forward with any action. Yes? Come up to the podium, please. And just state your name and city you reside in, please.
I'm Joel Fox. I'm a resident of Coos Bay.
Okay?
My question is about the situation. Would it ever arise where two or more companies intending to tow would show up at the same event, and then it would be like an argument about who gets to tow? Did that ever happen?
I don't know, but we can.
That's a question.
Okay, thank you. Captain Schaefer or Chief?
We certainly have had multiple tow companies on scene. Just someone may have a preference tow, and then someone may not have a preference, in which point we would get a hold of Mass Brothers. So they would show up on the same scene. I don't know if that really answers your question. I think you're saying like where they're maybe radio, listening to the radio and showing up on scene. Yeah. So I don't recall that happening with us, even in the past when we were on the rotation style, because we were kind of having to always make sure that we were paying attention to the rotation and then requesting whatever tow was due up next. So I don't recall that, but
But Captain Schaefer, if there's an accident and it's really up to the individual to decide who they want to tow their
Correct.
vehicle, right? Okay. Yeah. All right, any other questions?
I just want to thank Councillor Kilmer for reminding this council and the audience that when we did go through this first process, we only awarded it for 2 years to give the other tow companies time to do the things necessary to be able to bid. And so I'm disappointed that today we don't have multiple bids, but I'm proud of the process that we put in place to make sure that we gave time for people to do that.
absolutely, and I believe it's also a healthy bidding process is best for our citizens too, to get the best price for the city as well. So.
Okay, anything else?
I guess I'll just throw out there that since we have one competitive proposal, I just wanted to say thank you to the business that has done that, Mass Brothers, for providing excellent service for this community and our surrounding communities for years and years and years. It's been extremely dependable, and I will go ahead and move that we award a 36-month tow company of record contract between the City of Coos Bay and Mass Brothers Towing as a result of a competitive RFQ process.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to award the tow company of record a 36-month contract to Mass Brothers. Is there any other comments or discussion? Hearing none? Go ahead.
I just want to say that, I think it's important that, people understand that we want to support local business. And this is an opportunity to, with their if there is an area where they're short in meeting the RFQ, I don't think it changed much from the last one. You know, there's an opportunity for that, so I just wanted to say that.
All right. Anyone else? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Thank you. Great report. Consider enactment of ordinance renewing the franchise agreement with Pacific Power. Nicole.
Yes, thank you. Just a little bit of background for this. Within our public right-of-ways, we have an opportunity for our utility companies to use those for delivery of service. They put their infrastructure in those right-of-ways. And that kind of helps us in our planning of the community, but it also helps ensure that we know where those lines are. And another option that's helpful for us is it gives us a little bit of a revenue stream coming in because they are using a public space to produce revenue for their company. So Pacific Power has had a franchise agreement with the city of Coos Bay as the electric utility in our community for decades, and we have historically done a 10-year agreement. And so what you have before you is just a renewal of that. It expired June 30th, so we are on the first day that we need to be addressing this, talking about it here tonight. We historically have put those in place via an ordinance. We can continue to operate under the ordinance that exists. As we know, our ordinance take 30 days to be implemented. There are no changes to this agreement other than the time frame. So there were no changes in any asks from the power company, nor did we put forth any changes.
Has Nate looked this over?
Yes.
Questions, council?
So it's 9% that the city receives, is that right, of gross revenues?
Yes, that's correct.
And is a 10-year contract too long, given the contracts that we have with other agencies?
You know, there's a possibility that we could consider something shorter, for sure. We could also consider having an element for an increase. You know, we look at some sort of factoring for an increase in rate. While that would bring additional revenues in for the city, and we use those revenues in two places, in the general fund and in the transportation fund. That's been a while back. We did increase that rate 2.5%. That's what goes to the transportation fund, and essentially was to cover the operation of streetlights. We should acknowledge that any rate change we assess to Pacific Power gets passed on to those users, so being kind of thoughtful about that as well. But you could certainly, 10 years is what we batted around, it's what it was, but you could certainly consider a different time period if that was of interest. It would require us, you know, getting their acknowledgement of that, but we can certainly do that.
So since I saw Nate walk in, is there anything in this contract that would give the city the availability to renegotiate, like, you know, a lot of contracts, 60 days notice, we can change the contract, Pacific Power. Is there anything in there, or we just are stuck to 10, or are we locked in for 10 years?
I don't remember if there's a clause in there or not. I would doubt it. Yeah.
Okay. Council?
I guess 10 years just seems like a really long time, and so I'm wondering if this council is willing to entertain 5 years, and then it would come back before us in 5 years. So.
I mean, I have no problem with that. I mean, if you look at the sanitation companies that we deal with on the franchise, it's yearly. I think maybe that's a little bit too often, in my opinion, but that's how it's set and how we deal with it. Is there any other franchises? The only thing I have with a franchise is them. There's nobody else. And so, you know, I always like to make sure that we kind of do a check and balance every so often. And so 10 years seems a little long to me, but I don't know.
So just to kind of clarify that, like, for example, our telecommunication franchise, that's extended to every organization who provides that service. So if another power company came in here, if that was even a possibility, through the PUC, we would extend the same opportunity to them to enter the public right-of-way, to put their infrastructure, and we would have an agreement with them to collect fees based on what they're earning using the public right-of-way.
This isn't exclusive, is what you're saying. We're not saying somebody else can't come in here, we're just saying.
This isn't. We do have some. For example, the sanitation franchise, it does limit, because we do acknowledge that if we can control the amount of trucks that are on our roadways, that's a benefit to our roadways and our community. So that is very specific to giving them access for a set number of services they provide. There are some that are not listed in that, and so other organizations could certainly provide those services. But
the only thing and I understand that, and that makes sense. Is there anything in here that we have the ability to change the rate within before 10 years?
I don't recall that being in there, and I would say that would have been a point at which we would have kind of thrown the ball back and forth a little bit, because they also want to have some consistency as well. So, and that just wasn't a topic. We talked about a few things, but that wasn't something that came up. So I don't remember there being a clause about that.
It's 9% of gross, not net, gross. And I don't know.
So here's the dilemma, and I understand where Stephanie's coming from, and I understand what Nicole said. We would have to pass this on. But the city of Coos Bay, whether we like it or we don't, we are in a financial crisis heading towards us. Now, how we deal with that is up in the air. But PERS and health insurance has put us in a situation that we have to look at addressing that. So the last thing I would want to do is do this, but I think we need to leave the future council options, is all I'm saying. So.
I had a question to follow up that comment I was making, though. How does this compare to other franchise agreements in the other communities?
That I'm not certain. I think ours is a little bit higher because we did that additional change. It's been in not the last 10 years, but the 10 years before that, I believe. Our other franchise, for example, our telecommunications, they sit at 5 or 7, depending on the type, whether they're mobile or, so 9 is on the higher end of what we do in this community. So.
And then the follow-up question to that is, if Pacific Power said, we're just not going to provide power for this community anymore, that would null and void this franchise agreement, and anybody that was coming in or was here already established providing those services, that would be available to them. I mean, this wouldn't stay in effect, obviously, if they said we're going to take a break for a year.
Yeah, it's a specific agreement with Pacific Power. Yeah.
Okay, so
I appreciate both points. I do not think Pacific Power would do that. Would stop providing service to this community.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the PUC would be.
I wanted to make the point of as well. The only point I was trying to make was, it's 10 years. Do we consider reviewing it in 5 years? That's really the only point. It has nothing to do with the percentage. And so I just wanted the council's opinion on what they thought of it. I do think that we, as PERS continues to go up and we are looking at how can we save money, I thought, well, maybe we can just, look at this every 5 years. That's all it was.
Okay, so anyone else have a comment?
If we change the time frame for this franchise agreement, then would we have to change the ordinance and go back out, and what happens if we're without?
So if you wish to change that outside of the 10 years, I would take that back to Pacific Power to see what their approval is. And we'd likely need to bring that back to you to make sure that it's confirmed by them.
So could we not just make, this would be tour 2, could we not just enact the ordinance to make it a 5-year time frame, and enact that, and then send it to them to ratify or not?
Yeah, sure. If
So that's an option. Anyone else? Troy, Sarah, anyone else have a comment? No, Pete.
Okay.
So can I, before we go much further, I'm looking at the agreement, and there is within the compensation a statement that allows us to have a conversation about that with notice and then with a delayed effect date. So, and that can happen anytime during the term.
What's the time? How much notice we have to give, and then what's that do?
It just allows us to, if you wanted to change the rate.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we're in the air here. My point was that I just want to make sure that there's availability to the teaching councils, and I hope they don't have to, but it's a possibility. So anyway, that's all.
So Nicole, you just said there is a means to change the rate if we want to.
Correct.
Then it's a moot point for me. I didn't catch that. But it would be nice to know that we don't just tuck this away for another 10 years and the staff is reviewing this every 5 years of where are there opportunities. And I imagine we're doing that already, but that's the only tidbit of information I would say on it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we've had a good discussion on this. So
It's a pretty good
I have one more question, and I don't know if you have this number, but what does this generate, this franchise fee?
So we looked at this a little bit earlier. It's about $1.3 million in general fund, and we did look at what's coming into transportation fund, but I think that's around the $300,000.
okay. No, it's significant. That's for sure.
Yeah, one of the questions I have is about moving of infrastructure, like possibly putting things underground, and it's addressed in here as well, which they can do, but they are, asking to be able to recoup those funds in whatever way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it looks like a pretty good contract, honestly.
No, they've been a good partner. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm just thinking about for future.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to enact an ordinance renewing the franchise agreement with Pacific Power.
Second.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to enact the ordinance of renewing the franchise agreement with Pacific Power. Excuse me.
We have
Any
roll call.
other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the
Nope.
question.
Oh, roll call.
Oh,
It's an
you're right.
ordinance.
I noticed that too. I read it. Roll call.
And
Christine, please.
an ordinance granting an electric utility franchise and general utility easement to Pacific Corp. Councillor Stevens?
Aye.
Councillor Cribbins?
Aye.
Councillor Matthews?
Aye.
Councillor DeNovo?
Aye.
Mayor Benetti?
Aye.
Councillor Kilmer?
Aye.
Ordinance number 586 has been duly enacted.
Thank you. Next item is the city manager's report. Nicole?
Yes, thank you. Just to give you a heads up, I'm sure you're all aware, July 4th is right around the corner, and we have some exciting events that are happening here in the community. One of those is 4th of July in the Park, which has been a event that the Downtown Association has taken on for us. Historically, the Firefighters Auxiliary was taking care of that, and they've had just, like most organizations, volunteerism is down, and so last year, I believe, might have been the first year that the Downtown Association stepped in and offered to help. We will have booths there for different departments. The police, fire, and library all have booths there. There is free swimming at the pool that day between 2 and 4. There's a firecracker run. And then the scout cabin will be open again for public to tour through. Fireworks also that evening, so if you have the opportunity to come and hang out in the park, maybe do some downtown stuff, you'll be here ready for fireworks. Just to give you an update, we had our livability committee meeting last week, and we discussed the role of that committee and whether or not there was a desire for those members to continue. If they saw some focus points we should be addressing. And where we landed as a group was to continue the committee, but on an ad hoc basis. So if there was an issue that came up that need addressed, we would call the group together to discuss that so they could provide a recommendation to council. And then I just wanted to give an update. We've had some turnover in a couple of our departments, and just happy to say we've got new folks at the front counter. So if you're out and about, come in and meet our two new codes planning specialists. And we have a planner starting, I think, next week. Yeah, on Monday. And then new finance person started this Monday. So I think we're getting seats filled. It will help fill some of those gaps for service. So just happy to see that. And they all seem to be really gung-ho on our new kind of focus of how we get to yes, reducing some of the barriers that just have been inherent with government. So that's what I have.
Great. Thank you. Council comments. Sarah?
No comments from me. Thank you.
Troy?
No comments for me tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Carmen?
I really don't have much. Just wanted to wish everybody a happy and safe 4th. Be aware of kids out in the street, and hope everybody has a good holiday weekend. That's all.
Thanks. Lucinda?
I just wanted to thank Christine and WOW Arts and Exhibits, the sponsor, Travel Oregon, of the new signs. And there is a committee of citizens and representatives from the tribes on the signs that are on the boardwalk. It's been fun watching that project come to fruition. I know there's still more to come. And this has been a real labor of love for Christine. She's done a great job of bringing us all together. So thank you for the beautiful placards in front of each tribal flag, letting people know which tribal flag that is. I love the new interpretive signs talking about the rich history of our area, whether it's logging, shipbuilding, the indigenous history. So they're just beautiful. They pop. And so I encourage everyone to take a walk along the boardwalk and see that new signage. So thank you very much, Christine. Really appreciate it. We talked about fireworks. I would not be doing my job if I didn't remind everyone that Coquel Casino Resorts also has a fireworks display on July 3rd at 10 o'clock. It's free to the public. We'd love for you to come down and join us. You can also just park your car on the hill, and you can turn on KDOC radio, and the fireworks are all choreographed to music, and so you can watch the fireworks display that way as well. I also wanted to thank the 3 members who applied for the library board, and I'm just reminded in all the conversations that we've had this evening that it's a lot about volunteering, and so this council volunteers their time, our committee members volunteer their time, and so I'm just so grateful for all of those who do that in love of their community. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Stephanie?
I don't really have much. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy 4th of July, and again, thank you for the report, Rosie. It's very obvious that you are out in the community bringing the message of what the Chamber offers to our business community and the individuals who are involved in that as well, so I appreciate that. And thank you to our volunteers who came out for the library positions. Unfortunately, we could only pick 2, and I hope that our 3rd individual will get involved. She seemed to be excited about that as well. There's all kinds of volunteer opportunities throughout the city, and so it is lovely when people step up to do that. So happy 4th of July, everyone.
Thanks, Stephanie. And I just want to, tag on to what Stephanie and Lucinda said about the library. Individuals applying, I think it's important. It's not just, I don't think it is. It is important that they do it, and they're willing to step up and participate. And I hope that I think it was Monica who didn't get selected, that she stays in mind that there's a lot of things going on, a lot of volunteerism, how many volunteers? I always see 150, and I think it's ends up being a lot more than that. But we have a lot of volunteers, and without those individuals, the city, I mention this all the time, we couldn't exist and participate and move on like we do. So thank you so much. Did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, just point of order. I'm disappointed that Dean is not here, but he mentioned the casino, and he mentioned Connect the Boardwalks, and he mentioned that bicycles were not available. You couldn't ride your bicycle to the casino. So I just wanted to correct him and let him know that it was actually SEDCO, the Cocoa Economic Development Corporation, that founded Connect the Boardwalks many years ago. They paid for a plan, and unfortunately, it did not come to fruition then. We still have time to talk about it, and there's, I think, groups who have tried to pick it up. We love having guests at our facility, and people who want to bring their bicycles to our facility can do so. I just wanted to make sure that I corrected Mr. Dunphy's statement. So thanks.
Anyway, the library, we have 77 different, surprising to me. And, and they had 1,353 attendees. I mean, and they have all kinds of activities going on where you can just come in and get things out of the refrigerator and help. And as Janice mentioned, get a crock pot. And so it just fills so many needs for so many people than just books. I mean, that's the main conception behind it, but that's not the only thing to do. So I think it's a wonderful facility that we have. Also, I want to wish everyone a happy 4th. We're fortunate in this community to have July 3rd with the Cockwell Casino and Resort doing their fireworks. Then, of course, we have ours on the 4th, and we have a lot of activities in the park. It's not called the Mayor's Firecracker Run anymore, is it?
It isn't, but I did see a couple references to that still, so we got some cleaning up to do.
The reason I asked,
unless you want to run.
That the mayor is going to run it, and I do not. And so, anyway, that's fine. It's appropriate. No, I appreciate that, because they always ask me, "Are you going to run it? Is that why your name's on there?" No, I have no intent. Anyway, get involved. Come down to the park. It's the activities are wonderful. You see so many people out and about and enjoying themselves, and that's what this city's about, creating an environment that everyone can enjoy. So anyway, happy 4th, and we do not have an urban renewal agency meeting this evening, so I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much.